All of us.
We won't stop.
What that mean? Boo.
The tops we grow now. We
All
won't
of us.
stop. Tops we won't stop.
Wait, man, I got to talk to that.
The tops we grow now. We won't stop. Now we won't stop. The tops we grow now. We won't stop. Tops we won't stop. The tops we grow now. We won't stop.
What's up? You are watching AK Talk. My name is Sarah, aka Black Gypsy Mermaid, and today we're going to discuss what it's like being mixed. I'm going to start with myself. Again, my name is Sarah. My mother is from Costa Rica. She is Afro-Latin, and on my dad's side, I am Russian and Polish. And I'm going to introduce you now to Tatiana.
My name is Tatiana. I am Black and German. My mom is Black and German, and my dad is German.
My turn.
Your turn.
Hi, my name is B, and I'm German and Black. My mom is German, and my dad is Black. Thank you for having me.
I'm Lala, and I am Black and Mexican. My dad is Black. My mom is Mexican.
So today our host will be Cassie, and she'll be starting it off, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to her.
All right, ladies, just a few questions for you. Real simple. If it's happened to you or you've been asked this, just raise your hand. What are you? Do you identify more with your black side, your white side, your German side,
Yes.
your Hispanic side? You don't count. You are not really black. Was it hard having a white mother? Was your black father in the picture?
And my father's white, by the way, but I've been asked that.
You are so exotic looking. One day, the whole world will look just like you. I want my kids to be mixed. They make the cutest babies.
Yes.
They are cute, though, I'm sorry. Were you super confused growing up? Can I touch your hair? You got that good hair.
No.
Don't touch it.
That's
Don't
the
touch
answer.
it.
You like that? That's your white side. Light-skinned black women are the most attractive. So, let's go back to the beginning. What are you? Those of you that have answered the question that you have been asked, what are you? How did that make you feel? How did you respond to it? Were you confused as to why they would ask you, what are you? Anyone?
Who wants to answer first?
I'll go first. I honestly get Mexican. A lot of people think that I'm Mexican, especially if my hair is back tight. I don't know why, but I'm not surprised because when I look in the mirror, like a lot of people just think I'm white. And then I have to point out my features, like the big lips and like the olive skin tone. And then it comes to them, but at first when they look at me, they're just like, oh, she's just white, especially the blue eyes. But my mom, she's half black and she has blue eyes, so my mom and my dad have both blue eyes, so, but they definitely just think I'm just white. It's never, she's mixed.
So, growing up, my situation is probably a lot different than the majority of mixed people because my mother is Afro-Latin. She came from Costa Rica and she didn't identify with her black side. So growing up, I was always told you're not black. We're brown, you're peanut butter, we're Latin, we're Hispanic. It was like her black side was totally just kind of pushed to the side. So for the longest time, like if somebody would call me black, I'd be like, whoa, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic. Like, don't call me black, I'm not black. Because it was something that was taught to me. And it wasn't until like I got older and I started learning about like the slave trade and I started learning about Afro-Latins and just like the world in general and how, you know, Spain colonized countries, but then there were so many other countries that were coming in too. So there's so many like Hispanic people who don't even have Spanish blood in them. So there was just like a lot of like relearning. But with that being said, my mom always kind of taught me to ask people what they were and never assume. So growing up, I thought it was perfectly okay to be like, oh, well, what are you? Where are you from? Because you never want to assume what someone is. Because, like, my sister, this is like the perfect example. My sister had a friend, she was Filipino. Well, they told me she was Chinese, and her mom was Connie Chung. So I thought Connie Chung was her mom. And I remember going to my mom saying, oh, you know, Connie Chung lives down the street. And we live in Palmer, Alaska. Connie Chung did not live down the street. And my mom just flipped out. And so it was always kind of like, to me, you have to ask people what they are. So it was never like something that was bothersome on my part.
Did you? It's the opposite for me, just because you get tired of people assuming, like people say, oh, you Puerto Rican, or I guess it's the way they say it. Like, it's not what nationality you are, it's what are you. So that's a little offensive, but you know, I think everybody has something mixed in them. You know, they just may not know it.
Growing in a family with different races or different race parents, did you ever feel confused about how to, I guess, act or portray yourself when going out in the world? Because you know there are some families that have both black parents or both white parents or both German parents. Did that ever confuse you, seeing different parental families or race parental families?
I wouldn't say I was confused, but I would say that you don't fit in with one side or the other. Well, when I was growing up, there was no, you know, curly hair girls like me. It was with my skin color. It was either you too white to be with the black people, you too black to be with the white people. So you kind of have to learn how to learn who you are a lot quicker, I think, than somebody who might be all white or all black, only because you should know both sides of your culture, you know, who you are. But I didn't get that. I was raised up, it seemed like, in a very white neighborhood, a lot of white people, and wasn't really taught a lot of black history until I actually had a teacher who was black, and she's the one who brought me in by myself and taught me some black history. And so that's when I started to actually learn about that. Now, don't get me wrong, it was way, way, way before my time, but it did take a long time for me to be comfortable in my own skin of, you know, who I am. And even now, I relate more with being black than anything else. But then my brothers, who were the same, they don't. So I think that you just have to learn who you are, and then eventually there shouldn't be any confusion. That's how I felt.
I grew up in Palmer, where it was predominantly white, and my mom, being a black Afro-Latin woman, wanted to be white. She wanted to have white kids. So it was always kind of like, oh, if you act this way, then you're white. So you have to act like a white person. You have to talk like a white person. White is better. I don't ever really remember my mom talking to me about politics, any like gay issues, any other issues other than don't ever date a black man. We don't date black men, and you're not black, and join the military. That was pretty much her thinking. And as I got older, it was, I couldn't really understand it. And I think that's probably what confused me most. Not so much about where I fit in, but why was my mom so anti-black? That's what I think what was confusing for me. Because I'm like, I'm around all these Hispanic people who are like me or darker with kinky hair, black features, but they're like, oh, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. I'm not black, I'm Costa Rican. So it was that part, I think, was what confused me. And I grew up in a very Latin household, like with the foods, the music, the culture, but I've always gravitated more towards black culture, whether it was like, it doesn't matter what country it was from. I was always like, if it was like black Americans or black islanders, you know, black Africans, I've always gravitated more towards them. And I've always liked black men. That was like instilled in me from a baby, I guess. I don't know, but that's what I've always liked. So that, I think, was what was more confusing, is like, well, what does it mean to be black? That part.
It's interesting that you said you had a pressure to not date black men, but you're mixed with black. That
She would not, I mean, and I don't ever remember my mom talking about her dad. She loved her dad very much. So it wasn't like she hated her dad. But when you learn about what was going on in Latin America, it's like, in America, we have the 1% rule. Like, if you're a little bit black, you're black. In Latin America, it's the opposite. If you're a little bit white, you're like either mulatto or white. They try to whiten out their countries. So here, where they were like, okay, even if you're 1/4 black, you're still black. There, even if you're 1/4 white, you're mulatto. So it's opposite. So when you start learning the history, I kind of understood it. Even though I don't agree with it, I understand how it is like that. But I didn't then. Like, that part was very confusing.
Did any of you other ladies feel that pressure from your families to not date? I know that's, like she said here, it's kind of typical, I guess, here for some families or some races not to allow their children or other people to date their children that are not their same race. Did you feel that pressure or that strong of an opinion from your parents?
Yeah.
Please explain.
So my dad, there's 3 of us. We all have different moms. My sister, her mom is white, and my brother, his mom is full black, like mine is. My mom was mixed. So I was very confused as to why there was so much pressure to date a white man when he himself was dating black women. So that was confusing to me, and I would throw it in his face a little bit, and he'd always say, well, it's the type of black guys you're going for, stuff like that. But I don't feel like that was part of it. I think it was something deeper. But I don't know. I did date a white guy, and it was like horrible. It's horrible. But
Not saying white men are horrible, just her
yeah,
experience
that
was
one
horrible.
was no, thank you. But
I was too married to a white guy, and I love his family. I just don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
I can say they're handsome and attractive, but I want a black king. Not saying white men aren't kings, but
It's just your type. You
it's
want
just
what
my
you
type.
want.
I want what I want.
Yeah, and then my mom, I can kind of relate to you because my mom was, she bleached my hair when I was little, and I don't know if it was just to cover up the darker hair or to ruin my curl pattern. I don't know what it was, but it was always like a bleaching of the hair, and maybe if your hair is blonde and you have lighter skin and blue eyes, you'll look like a white baby. And it was also, she liked native men or like Indian men, so she was always like, oh, you just need an Indian guy. When I told her that I like black men, it was never like, oh yeah, you like black men. It was kind of like why? So, and she kind of hid her black side too. She would always straighten her hair, and she had very curly hair. She always left it straight. So I think that was kind of like the pushing the black side. But I factored out my own opinion of how to act. I went with the black culture more. I didn't really care what my parents had to say about anything.
Well, ladies, don't disappear on us. We'll be right back with you. We're just gonna give you a little breather.
All of us. Hold it down, bro.
Topic. We're gonna give you a little breather.
The tops we grow now, we won't stop.
All of us.
We won't stop.
All of us. Hold that down, bro.
Oh, don't put no all that shit on fucking no motherfucking mouth. What's wrong with him?
All of us. Hold that down,
Talking
bro.
about all of us.
Don't tell nobody.
All of you.
Hold that down, bro. Hold it down, bro. Don't tell nobody. All of us.